Hey, how much did you inherit?
Hmm.
I got a bank account with about $5 million. Why? My husband smirked at the mention of the $5 million. It was hard not to smile with that kind of money, but it also seemed like he was plotting something. The next morning when I woke up, my husband was already gone. Did he go somewhere? He doesn't usually take walks, and he even took the day off work. Maybe he just wanted to take a break. I decided to think that and had breakfast alone, then started cleaning the room. Then, what? Why is it gone? The passbook that should have been securely placed in the dresser was missing. Hey. The passbook is missing. Do you know anything about this? In a panic, I called my husband. Maybe he moved it somewhere else. Oh, that? I took care of it. Also, I forgot to tell you, I'm getting remarried, so we're getting a divorce, okay? Wait, what do you mean? Just look in the bedroom. You'll see the divorce papers I signed, right? Well, that's that. He told me that and hung up abruptly. He stole the passbook and he's divorcing and even remarrying? I felt like I was going insane with anger. Less than an hour later, my husband rushed back through the front door. What are you doing back here now? Hey, what's going on? Why didn't you tell me? Oh. I see. That's how it is. Fine. I'll tell you everything. My name is Diane. I turned 50 this year. My father was the president of a major logistics company, so I grew up in a relatively wealthy family. I was an only child and very much loved by my parents. But they were probably stricter about money than most families. Listen, money can drive people crazy. You need to know how to handle money from a young age. My father often told me that. Thanks to that, I started working part-time in high school. And vowed to myself to buy what I wanted with the money I earned. I never begged my father for money. You can rely on your father sometimes, you know? He'd be happy if his daughter depended on him a bit. I heard that sometimes, but I never felt that way, and it stayed the same even in college. As an adult, I naturally went into the logistics industry because I grew up watching my father work. That's where I met my husband, Peter. Diane, you've worked hard today. It's hot, but let's keep it up. My husband was 3 years older than me. And always spoke kindly whenever we met at the company. As I was a clerk and he was a truck driver, we didn't meet many times a day. But I always looked forward to talking with him. What a kind person he was. Gradually, I found myself attracted to his kind nature, and after a fierce pursuit, we started dating. Will you marry me? Yes. With pleasure. 3 years after we started dating, we happily became husband and wife. Oh, I was truly happy. When he proposed, I felt like I was the happiest person in the world. It has been 25 years since we married. Our eldest son, Alex, and our second son, Kevin, blessed us with their presence, and we lived happily. However, one day, my husband's attitude began to change drastically. Last year on our wedding anniversary, it was a tradition for us to go out to eat with our sons. But that day my husband said for the first time that he couldn't make it. Well, I can't make it this year. What? Why? I've got work that day, just can't say no. If it's work, it can't be helped. I had quit my job when we got married, so I didn't really know if it was truly work. But I trusted my husband, as he never lied. It was sad not to celebrate our anniversary together. But I said okay to him and decided to go out to eat with our sons. On the day of the anniversary, respecting my younger son's opinion, we drove about 30 minutes away from home to eat at an expensive Italian restaurant. This is awesome. Way better than the supermarket pizza we usually eat at home. Stop, you're embarrassing me. As we enjoyed our meal together, I thought I saw my husband outside the restaurant. Peter. Mom, what's up? I thought I saw him, but decided it was just my imagination. No, it's nothing. He seemed to be arm in arm with a young woman, but it must have been someone else. After we returned home, I couldn't stop thinking about my husband. Even while cleaning and doing laundry, I couldn't help but suspect he might be cheating. Hi, I'm exhausted today too. Hi, you must be tired. Peter returned home in his work clothes, appearing as usual. However, there was a pleasant scent coming from him, and strangely, he didn't seem to have sweated much, even though it was a hot period. After dinner, having finished eating and with Peter having come out of the bath, I decided to ask him outright. Hey. What's up? This might sound weird, but were you really at work today? At my question, he momentarily froze. Huh?
Yeah.
I was at work, but why are you asking that? We went out for lunch with the kids. And I saw someone who looked like you walking with a woman outside. What? Are you saying I was messing around with a woman instead of working? No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm disgusted to hear that. I'm going to sleep. I had upset him, and we didn't speak for the rest of the night. Something was definitely off. Could he really be cheating? The next day, his mood hadn't improved, and our conversations dwindled. This went on for a year. Then, one day, when Peter went to take a bath after returning from work, I accidentally saw his mobile phone on the living room table. I knew it was wrong to look through someone else's phone, but I couldn't stop myself. Fortunately or unfortunately, his phone wasn't locked. And I could immediately see his messages and photos. What is this? On his phone, there were exchanges and photos with a woman who seemed to be his affair partner. It was now certain he was cheating. You're cheating, aren't you? I blurted out to Peter. I had intended to stay silent. But I couldn't bear the thought of him doing such things behind my back. Huh? What are you talking about? I have proof. I showed him his mobile, challenging him. Still, he nonchalantly grabbed the phone from me and said, "What are you talking about? I would never cheat. This girl works in the office. She often asks me to take pictures with her. Really, it's tough being popular." He joked foolishly. It might have been as he said, but I only felt distrust towards him. Perhaps I was being foolish, but I oddly accepted his explanation and didn't pursue it further. 6 months later. Diane. It's terrible. Come to the hospital quickly. Your father has. What's wrong? Calm down. What happened to Dad? He was hit by a car, he might not make it. The sudden call from my mother was shocking. He might not make it. Those words made my heartbeat race. I drove to the hospital she mentioned, nearly running every red light in my haste. God, please, just save my father's life. Praying thus, I arrived at the hospital and headed to my father's room. Dad. Entering the room, I saw my mother crying and my father lying there, who had already passed away. Diane, my husband has. Wait, you're joking, right? Dad. Dad. Despite my desperate calls, my father did not wake up. He had been severely injured all over from being hit by the car. And it seemed he died almost instantly. His body was covered in wounds, but fortunately, his face remained unmarred. Seeing my father looking as though he was just sleeping made it all the more painful. We took him back to our family home in his coffin, and I immediately arranged for the funeral. Of course, I informed my husband and children that my father had passed away and asked them to attend the funeral. Many people, including my father's company associates and old friends, attended the funeral the next day, and seeing how loved he was made me tear up again. We managed to send him off to heaven without any issues, and the funeral concluded smoothly. I'm sorry to bring this up at a time like this, it's about the inheritance. As we were leaving the funeral home, my mother spoke to me. She was holding a passbook in her hand. What's this? Your father's will, he told me to give this to you after he passed. Inside the passbook, I saw it contained $5 million. $5 million. According to my mother, I had never relied on my father for money. But he had been depositing money every month for me just in case something happened. I didn't know, thank you. I gratefully accepted the passbook and returned home with my husband and children. The next day, I went to the bank to transfer the account into my name. Even so, I was amazed that he had left such a large sum. The inheritance tax won't be insignificant. Thinking this, I returned home and stored the passbook in my bedroom dresser. That night, Peter, who had recently been quiet, spoke to me. Hey, I overheard you talking with your mother about inheritance at the funeral home. How much did you get? About $5 million in the passbook she gave me. Huh, is that so? Peter smirked. Hearing about the $5 million, he seemed satisfied and headed to the bedroom. What now? Was he just happy about the money? I couldn't help but feel he was plotting something bad. The next day, when I woke up, Peter was already gone. He doesn't usually go for a walk early in the morning. And he wasn't supposed to work that day either. Where could he have gone? Well, maybe he just went out to take a break. With that thought, I had breakfast alone and started cleaning my room. It's gone. Why? I definitely put it here yesterday. When I tried to organize the clothes in the dresser, I couldn't find the passbook that was definitely there until yesterday. Maybe Peter moved that somewhere else. In a rush, I called him. Hey. Do you know where the passbook went? I had put it away yesterday. Oh, the passbook. I took it. And did you see the divorce papers in the bedroom? I'm divorcing you. His sudden declaration of divorce left me stunned. Divorce. What are you talking about? Get it the first time. I'm saying I'm divorcing you because I'm getting remarried. Saying that, Peter hung up the phone unilaterally. This is too much. After everything I've done for him, I felt like I was going insane with anger. I thought, fine. If that's how you want it, I'll show you what I can do. I vowed to take revenge on my husband, who had completely exhausted my patience. After hanging up the phone, I started thinking about how to take my revenge. Surely, he must be planning to withdraw the money from the passbook. Thinking so, I immediately called the bank and reported the passbook as lost. This should prevent anyone but me from making withdrawals. I also signed the divorce papers and submitted them to the law office. Around 11 o'clock, I heard a noisy sound and Peter's voice from the front entrance. Hey. Diane. What the hell is going on? He left on his own, and now this. I didn't feel like dealing with him but reluctantly headed to the entrance. What do you mean a what? I don't understand what you're talking about. Why can't I withdraw money from this passbook? It was about that, as I expected. Well, of course. I called the bank and said the passbook was lost. Huh? He looked surprised. So, you called, but I can still withdraw, right? I have the passbook. Does he really not know the basics? Or is he doing this because he's ensnared by that woman? Well, either way, it doesn't matter anymore. Basically, you can withdraw with just the passbook, yes. But if you lose your card or passbook, the bank requires personal identification documents from the account holder. Why didn't you tell me such an important thing? I'm in trouble now. There's already talk of buying a house. Oh, I see. So that's what it is. He thought he could steal the $5 million passbook to set up a new home with his mistress. Just so you know, even if you could withdraw, it wouldn't be your money. What are you talking about? I have inheritance rights, don't I? There's no way you do. The inheritance rights are only between my mother and me. As I said that, Peter's shoulders slumped. Then, can I get at least half? I wish he'd think before he speaks. To bring up divorce and still be so selfish. Huh? There's no way I'd give it to you. We're already divorced. Divorce can be cancelled anytime. It's impossible. I've already submitted it to the law office. Even so, we could still divide the property. He never stops frustrating me. Reaching my limit, I yelled at him. Enough already. Divide what property? There's no way that's happening. You were the one who started talking about divorce because of your affair. And wasn't it you who unilaterally handed me a signed divorce paper without any terms? We are strangers now. Startled by my sudden outburst, Peter looked down and fell silent. He probably thought he had some leverage when he mentioned property division. But there was no chance of that. If you still want to talk about dividing assets, we can continue this in court. I'm ready to fight you as much as necessary. And you'll probably lose and pay alimony too. No, that's not. Then get out. Don't ever show your face here again. I pushed him towards the door and drove him out. I thought he might resist and cause a scene at the doorstep, but he just walked away dejectedly. Mom? What happened? Perhaps it was my shouting that woke him up, but my eldest son came down rubbing his eyes. I told him about his father's affair and that it was the reason for our divorce. That's what happened. I'm sorry. I see. That's fine by me. I never really liked Dad much anyway. Kevin and I will take care of things around the house. Don't stress yourself. His kindness brought tears to my eyes. 2 weeks later, I consulted with a lawyer and successfully obtained alimony. He betrayed his family with his selfish actions, and that's what he got. I truly felt that from the bottom of my heart. A month later, with my husband gone, my sons and I were spending a peaceful time at home when my younger son handed me a letter. This was in the post box, but there's no sender's name on it. I figured it was for you, Mom. What is it, I wonder? Thank you. I recognized my ex-husband's handwriting immediately as I looked at the letter handed to me by my son. The letter read, "I'm truly sorry for having an affair without thinking of the family. I just got carried away with a girl I met at a nightclub I went to with some coworkers. It was my first offense, but I deeply regret what I did. I've been fired from my job. And now I'm working earnestly every day for a construction company president who used to do business with us. If it's possible to be forgiven, I'd like to start over with everyone. If you're willing, please call me." What is he even saying now? I have no intention whatsoever of getting back together with him. I threw the letter in the trash and went back to watching TV. The stolen passbook is gone for good, but I went to the bank and had them reissued. So the precious inheritance my father left me is safe. I plan to use it carefully for my children's future.